tell me who you are and what Tunado is.
I'm B.Dickson, and I work as the Executive Director for Tunado. Tunado is the Uganda National Apiculture Development Organization, basically an umbrella organization that brings all beekeepers together in the country, in Uganda.
So tell me about ordinary farmers in Uganda and how Tunado fits in.
We have beekeepers well distributed throughout the country, and traditionally these people used to hunt bees for honey for home consumption, but later they realized that actually keeping bees can earn them an income. And to female-headed household, it is a very good income-generating activity, for it does not add a lot of burden on the already a lot of work they have at home, but rather gives them an extra income. And as Tunado, we encourage them to form groups, so that as they form groups and mobilize many other beekeepers to join the groups, they produce a lot of honey, which then is very easy for us as an umbrella organization to attract buyers to these groups. So basically, they are organized under groups or cooperatives and associations at different levels, which then join Tunado to get other several membership benefits which Tunado provide, especially like market linkages, market information, capacity building in terms of training and information.
And what sort of income can they earn, and what do they do with that income? What difference does it make to them?
I can assure you that in Uganda, beekeepers are very happy now because they are able to earn about 50 to 100 pounds out of their beekeeping projects. And once they get this money, they're able to send their children to school, they're able to buy salt, they're able to buy sugar, some of them, they're able to buy some clothing. Others are able to actually use it as a startup capital to either buy land, to either start shops, or to either pay some workers on their farm. So it is a very interesting activity for the beekeepers.
So they can earn a significant amount of money in their terms for a minimal amount of work.
Yeah, you would say that actually, if you compare the beekeeping with other cropping activities, the beekeeper requires very, very little time, maybe something like once every after 2 weeks, once a day every after 2 weeks, which with other cropping systems, like maybe if you have one cow, you would look after it every other time, feeding it and injecting it. But here, bees, you don't feed them. For us in Africa and in Uganda, we don't feed bees. You take the hive there, and you just wait to come and pick the honey and sell. And that's why Tunado exists, because when we provide them with market information and market, we make market available for them. So basically, it works for them.
Is it easy to look after bees? What's special about Uganda and bees that it makes it easy to do this? Do you need equipment?
No. What is important in Uganda is that they are local style hives or traditional hives. So if the beekeepers are taught how to make their own hives, weaving, making these hives out of banana leaves, so they are able to make it. So, and the good thing is that we have forage, we have plants all over, like coffee, like mangoes, like sunflower, eucalyptus. All those are readily available. So bees will not suffer looking for what to eat. But also look at our climate. We do not have long spells of, say, winter or something like that. Those are not there in Uganda. So bees are able to make, they are able to collect a lot of nectar and pollen for all the time the climate is conducive. So it becomes one of the good intervention one would support farmers in Uganda with, for they will not invest a lot of time, and the bees themselves will do all other work, and your role will be to come and collect honey and then sell it through a very even good structure if you're a member of Tunado.
So the local farmer easily sets up a hive and at the end of the season collects the raw honey, and what does he do with the wax, and what do they do with the propolis that's in the hive?
Now, of recent, we have trained women groups and some youth on how to use beeswax to make like candles, add value on them, and also how to collect this propolis and make propolis tincture. And in fact, if somebody had 1 kilogram of propolis and turned it into propolis tincture, he makes a lot of money than somebody who has harvested 20-liter jerrycan.
And you don't need much equipment for that?
No, we do not need much equipment for that.
So what do you need then? So, if you don't need equipment, what do you need to help these farmers?
So what we need to help these farmers are basically three things in summary. One is that we need to reach them and skill them, train them, build their capacity on how to keep bees along the value chain, but also understand that honey is food and they understand how to handle it. Because the biggest problem we normally find is harvesting and post-harvest handling that deteriorates the quality. So it is one of the things we need to do. Second thing we need to do for these farmers is to organize the market to ensure that the market works for them. And here we have provided them with information, necessary information, do market linkages for them, and ensure that the market is really happening. Whichever they harvest ends up in the market, for they want the money. And the third thing which we need to do for them is to train them in how to make equipment on their own. So basically, you would say that yes, that is where we need some kind of capital investment, maybe like a bee suit, maybe something like a smoker, but not really hives. We do not need a lot of money in hives or a lot of money in the processing machines. For the processors and the packers, once they have honey, they can always use their profit actually to buy processing machines and process and pack.
What's the market for honey like in Uganda or just outside Uganda, in Africa or in the EU?
I must say that we have the market for honey is readily available for the organized. So when you look, for example, in Uganda, in Kampala alone, the honey they are currently consuming, some of it is actually imported. So meaning that we still have a huge market for us to fill within Uganda alone. But also, within the East African community, we have seen a lot of transboundary trade between Uganda and Kenya, where honey is taken to Kenya every other time. And for the last 5 years, we have been carrying out National Residue Monitoring Plan, and for all the analysis that have been made, actually our honey has passed the EU. So meaning that we can as well access the EU market if we increase the production. But what is lacking now is for us to skill as many beekeepers as we can so that they increase production. Then we meet the Ugandan market demand and then think of distant market.
Now, when I was in Uganda, there were lots of people from different districts in Uganda saying, please come to our district. There are lots of farmers and we need your support. So it seems that the organisation of farmers and cooperatives exists.
Yeah, there are cooperatives in Uganda, but you must appreciate that cooperatives they are at its infant stage, and because they are at infant stage, you will find that we need a lot to do in terms of helping these cooperatives to grow. So, and of course, the lack means also to reach their beekeepers, because even if it is a cooperative at the district level, you will find that maybe it is 50 kilometers away from this beekeeper, one of the beekeepers. So how do they reach these beekeepers? How do the market reach these beekeepers? How do their services reach these beekeepers? So that's where we are still finding it very hard, how to reach the poorest of the poor beekeepers, to help them, organize them, train them, have more bees, have more honey, and then becomes easier for the cooperative to collect that honey and for us to market the honey for the cooperative.
Now, if I was to give you some money or a grant, how would it be spent? Would the money go to the farmers, or what? How deep does it reach towards those farmers?
If the first thing we would do is to ensure that these farmers are skilled, these farmers are trained, because we know once these farmers have the skill, the right training, they will be able to make their own hives using local available materials. They will be able to know how to manage their bees. They will be able to know when to harvest and which honey can they harvest, how can they keep this honey. And then once that is done, then we are very sure that we can work on the market related issues and ensure that all their honey is taken. So the first thing we would do is training, skilling these beekeepers.
How do you train them? Do you go and visit them and talk to them? And have I not seen some booklets that you produce to support your beekeepers?
One of the things we have done is that we have developed a national training manual, which is a manual that everybody can use. But what happens is that the training takes place at the farmer's farm in the apiary, the real apiary. So, and the training model we are using now, because we realize that we cannot reach everyone, we are using farmer-led extension model, whereby we train a beekeeper, but while training this beekeeper, there must be other 10 beekeepers attached to this beekeeper. And those 10, each of them must be having 3 other beekeepers. So if we train 10 on this beekeeper's farm, we are sure that about 41 persons in that area will be trained in beekeeping. And then the training continues in that way, it snowballs. So, because the idea that if you have few beekeepers, you will not get a lot of honey and it will be very hard to attract the market. So you have to train them in a sense that you will use little money, but train a few. A few will also train many, and then they are able to collect the honey in one place, and then it becomes easy for us to market.
And this training is practical training, theoretical training. What's a day's training mean?
The training I'm talking about is practical training. Because if we are telling you, for example, how to make a hive, we have to make a hive with you. When you come with empty hands. When you go, the handout you take is a beehive, which you have made yourself. So that becomes very practical. If you are talking about how to harvest honey, then we have to harvest honey from the hives where we are training from. Because you cannot, these farmers of ours, most of them are not educated. So if you train them by writing on a board or something, then you would not have done anything good to them. You have trained them practically so that what they see, they are able to do it themselves. So that is the kind of training we provide the farmers.
Can you give me some examples of people who you've seen from being a poor farmer to, in a number of years, making a big success? I mean, I met some of them with you, but what's happened to these people?
Yeah, we have a number of people in Uganda whom I have seen poor and whom now I have seen to be actually richer by beekeeping standards.
What do you mean by poor?
Here, I'm talking about somebody who cannot earn 50 pounds a year. Who it is very hard to earn 50 pounds in a year. So, but I've seen now beekeepers who are able to earn up to 1,000 pounds in beekeeping. For example, we have a person like Pakarasio, I think you visited him, who is actually able to send a child to the university and pay school fees using the money out of the what? Out of honey. You saw a lady, Harriet. She has 7 children, but she was also able to build a permanent house. And
a brick house?
Yeah, brick house, yeah. she was living in a mud house, and now she's putting up a brick house. You saw a woman, Edisa, who is able now to pay other women to work for her. She's providing employment actually, and also operates a shop. We have seen a person like Adore in West Nile, who is harvesting 1 ton of honey himself.
1 ton?
1 ton of honey. And that's about 4 million Ugandan shillings, and possibly would say it is close to 1,000 pounds per season. We have a woman in the Kabale. In fact, she's our vice chairperson, Evas Magabi. She harvests 1.5 tons of honey herself every season. So we have a number of persons able to harvest a lot of honey and able to earn income, and yet we know that they use it actually to earn less than 50 pounds. And apart from actually money issue alone, the beekeepers, we have also beekeepers who used not to express themselves in public, and they were not respected in public. Now they are respected people as beekeepers. So apart from money issue, there has also been the point of self-esteem and social recognition of people as beekeepers. So they are proud to say, I'm a beekeeper. Like for example, I'm proud to say that I work for beekeepers, for I know they are successful people. They are people contributing something to the nation.
And Tunado also represents the honey processors, the industrial side of people who they bottle and purify and export. And how are they involved in Tunado?
So what happens is the processors and packers need to reach the producers of honey, and they do not know where they are. And as business people, they do not want to spend a lot of money on skilling and training these people. So now where Tunado comes in is that we know where our farmers are. We work with them every day, and these farmers trust us. So now these processors and packers find it very difficult to deal with them if they do not pass through us. So they have all be members. But also look at certification. They need to certify their honey so that they can be allowed in Ugandan shelves. And because Tunado, we are recognized by the government of Uganda as an apex body, we are able to talk with UNBS, Uganda National Bureau of Standards, to help them simplify the certification standards for them to understand what is required so that they can be able to have their honey certified and then sold on Ugandan supermarkets. But also another thing we do is market information. We provide market information which is multi-level. For processors and packers, they want market information about supermarkets, about hotels, which we do, but also the consumer response. And every year, we organize National Honey Week, where all these processors and packers and cooperatives come and showcase their products. So that way, the producers are able to interact directly with the processors and packers, but also processors and packers are able to interact with supermarket owners and hotel owners. And that way, it provides a platform for all of them to have a market networking related issues. So that's one of the services we give. But also when you look at our app newsletter, we normally put app price watch, where we put some information about market price. So it is something we would want to it is something we do and want to do it more, because now we feel we should be doing like SMS, for example, SMS messages to our members. We feel we should be conducting more radio talk shows to provide information over the radio, over the TV, and posters. So those are some of the things we have not done, but would want to do.
Where does Tunado fit in with the government of Uganda and the ministries of agriculture?
Yes, Tunado, because we do beekeeping, and bees are declared as animals in Uganda, so we fall under Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries. And over the recent past years, Tunado has been trying to advocate for government to put in place right policies. We already have a draft national agriculture policy, and we would want the government to pass it and it becomes a policy. Because we know that once we have the policy in place, then the government will, it is a commitment for the government, first of all. The government will allocate the budget to beekeeping. But also, government will employ district entomology officers or even sub-county entomology officers. So that way, it will be very easy for beekeepers to also get technical information wherever they need within their vicinity where we cannot reach. Because it is very hard for us to reach 132 districts in Uganda. But for government, it is very easy. And if we have all these district entomology officers, then the sector also becomes more stronger. But also, if the policy is in place, it will spell out all details of how beekeepers can be helped right from production to marketing level. So it is one of the things as Tunado we try to do.
Okay, Dickson, you're in England for a couple of weeks.
Yes.
How did you get here? Why are you here? And maybe what have you learned?
Oh yeah, basically I might say, I should say this, that Tunado's formation was also facilitated by Bees for Development UK, which is a charity organization in Monmouth. And we have been together since then, since 2004 when Tunado was formed. And now I'm here because we have been implementing together Uganda Honey Trade Project, a comic relief funded project in Kamwenge, which went on well. And one of the reasons I'm here is for me to gain mentorship from Bees for Development and understand how development works and management issues, resource mobilization, see how they mobilize the money, so that once that money reaches in Uganda, we take it with a lot of seriousness, because it is not that people just give money like that, but they give money for a reason. So there was a reason for me to come to understand such a kind of fundraising related issues. And of course there is also paperwork we have to do. For example, we are applying again to Comic Relief and to other organizations. So it was very important for me to come. And I'm very honored to have also met the First Minister of Wales. It was very, very good thing for me to shake hands with the First Minister. And they have also been helping us with the beekeeping project in Mbale, especially where they are on 1 million tree project, and they realized that they have to integrate bees. So it was a very good experience.
And last week you visited Comic Relief.
Yes, I visited the Comic Relief, and basically they were training us on how we can do monitoring and evaluation of the projects, so that there is a value for money for every money spent. So it was very interesting.
They don't just give money away, do they?
No, they do not give money just away. They want to see the value for money, because actually this money is given because they want to have people get out of poverty. So you must demonstrate capabilities on how this money is going to be spent, and to ensure that it is spent for the right thing you agreed upon in the project.
And their focus is on women, young people, families?
Basically, I may not say that their focus is on women, but for us as Tunado and the Bees for Development, because we know that women and youth, vulnerable, and refugees are the most disadvantaged people. And yet, with beekeeping, it is very easy for them to keep bees and earn money. That's why our concern and focus is on poor women, disadvantaged communities, hard to reach communities, the poor, and the youth. Because the majority of Ugandans actually are the youth, but they lack jobs, they are not skilled. So if they are not skilled and they do not have jobs, they are dangerous people in the community. And yet beekeeping does not require them to have a lot of skills to start, or to be educated to start, or to have a lot of money to start. It is a question of just giving them basic skills, and they are able to make money on their own. So that's why we focus that. That's why we would want Comic Relief and other development partners and well-wishers to help us so that the youth and the women and the disadvantaged people, we are able to reach them.
Well, I wish you every success in that, and I hope to come see you in a couple of years in Uganda and see more success. I was impressed the first time, and I'm sure I shall be impressed the next time I go in a few years. So I'd like to thank you very much for this interview, and hope to see you again in the future.
Thank you very much.